Hello and welcome in. It is the season 5 debut of the Magic Valley Prepcast here on IdahoSports.com, where we will be breaking down the biggest stories happening in high school athletics in the Magic Valley, that District 4 area, week in, week out throughout the 2025-26 school year here on IdahoSports.com. My name is Brandon Baney. Let's bring in our Magic Valley resident and expert from the heart of the Magic Valley, beautiful, sunny Jerome, Idaho. Here is Scott Burton. What's going on, Scotty?
Well, good to be back, Brandon. It's been a hot minute since we've done this, and as soon as I turned my computer on and plugged in the mic, all my settings were gone, and then I had to remember how to fix this. So the first go was always the roughest, but man, good to be back.
This is the show for Magic Valley sports fans. Every week we'll be breaking down 2 or 3 of the biggest stories that are happening throughout the Magic Valley. We will shoot this live. You can always tune in when we go live on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, or X account. You can, of course, watch the Magic Valley Prepcast on replay anytime at those 3 destinations as well. You can also listen to the Magic Valley Prepcast at IdahoSports.com, along with wherever you download and subscribe to podcasts. Could be Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. A lot of different ways to get the Magic Valley Prepcast. Now, unlike our other shows we do here at IdahoSports.com, we don't always have a set day and time for the Magic Valley Prepcast because, well, Scott's a pretty busy guy. I'm a pretty busy guy, and our schedules sometimes clash. But we will always try to give you at least 24 to 48 hours notice of when we're going to go live and do a show. Scott, why don't you introduce yourself to any new audience members that may be joining the Magic Valley Prepcast for the first time here in season 5, and explain why your schedule is so gosh darn busy all the time.
Well, hopefully we get some new people, and we have continued to grow this thing over did you say season 5?
Season 5.
Wow.
This is our COVID year. We're 5th year COVID seniors, Scott.
Wow, that is insane. Yeah, so we've been really, really lucky to grow this thing every single year, and so I would imagine we'll get some new ones. But yeah, Scott Burton, athletic director at Jerome High School, and 5 different side hustles to go with that, and that's why I am always busy. Kind of grew up in the area. Actually graduated from Jerome High School back in 1980, and been here, in Jerome. Started coaching in Jerome when I was in '93. Was my first coaching gig here in J-Town, and took a mini break and was a broadcaster or a newscaster and a sports anchor for a Fox station, and decided that, you know what, I didn't want to move to Vegas and have a sports show. So I stayed here in the Magic Valley and went back into teaching and coaching, and I figured out that's where I belong. And I've got about 4 years until I can retire. And there you go.
And then all of those other lucrative opportunities start rolling in, right, Scott?
Yeah. So I can greet her at Walmart. I can do that. That's going to be fun. I could sell snow cones. I can do a lot of things, but right now I'm teaching college classes online. I run a lawn care business, and it gets really crazy in the fall and the spring because I'm juggling that and whatever else. And I know I've got 2 or 3 others, and it's always moving.
And I know, like so many ADs, Scott, you handle the mowing up at Jerome, right? For the football field and whatnot?
I did. I used to. But now we've got Nathan Bishop taken over. And if you're not familiar with what he does, he belongs to us, so leave him alone. He takes care of the fertilizing, the mowing, the striping, and then an elaborate paint design in midfield every Friday night for a home football game. The guy's amazing, and we're able to keep him, and that takes a lot off our plate, because there was a year where I was mowing the football field, and it's like, man, this sucks. This is terrible, but hopefully we're beyond that.
I know a lot of other ADs and coaches throughout the Magic Valley tune into the show. I still remember good friend Randy Spaeth, the athletic director at Rat River, coached the football team there for a long time. Now he's the AD. He told me once he really enjoys listening to the show when he's on the mower. He'll hop on the mower, put the headphones in, and tune in. So
yeah, no, I remember him coming on and saying that. And no, it's a great listen and entertaining. And sometimes it's visual. So if you're just listening, you're not going to get the full effect. But yeah, it's I mean, that's how I do it a lot of times when I'm out mowing, is go back through some of our other podcasts, whether it's Eastern Idaho, Northern Idaho, or whatever, and get my information that way. So Randy's onto something.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. So my name is Brandon Baney. I have been at IdahoSports.com for about 5 years now. So Scott, do you remember your first year you were with IdahoSports.com?
I do. I can't tell you, 15 years ago, maybe somewhere in there. It was a long time ago. I know that much. And I remember broadcasting that first year because I went and sold a bunch of advertising for a baseball game that I was going to cover. And so I covered like 3 or 4 baseball games down the stretch of the season. But, the thing that sticks out about all of it is I remember when I was coaching girls basketball, we were at the state tournament, and I remember looking up, and we were at Mountain View High School, and I remember looking up and seeing a camera and a couple of guys with headsets. And I grew up, loved broadcasting and the news background and the sports show background, all that kind of stuff. And that interested me. And I'm looking at that going, okay, all right, what is that? And then I found out Idaho Sports, and it was just kind of really getting going. I mean, as far as the video stuff, right? And so I found out that Paul Kingsbury was the man in charge, and I typed him a nice letter, called him Mr. Kingsbury for the first and only time, and expressed interest in becoming a fine member of the IdahoSports.com family. Here are my qualifications and whatever. And I laid it on pretty thick because I didn't know the guy. I didn't know anything. I mean, had I known what I know now, that tone would have been completely different. But every so often, Paul has to remind me that I once was a nice guy, and he sends me that letter back.
Sure.
That he saved.
Well, Scott, in the chat, we've got our good friend Sam Buffington from North Idaho. We were talking about some of your post-retirement gigs here. He said, Scott can be that person that checks your Costco membership at the front door.
Yeah, well, I'm the guy they have to stop as I walk in because I don't have it out of my wallet yet. And then I hold everybody up behind me. I'm that guy.
Oh, you're that guy. Yeah, no thanks. For sure. Let me ask you this. This is something we talked about on the North Idaho Prepcast this week. Everybody that was on that show, and even a few broadcasters, Idaho Sports employees in the comments, all agreed. Has Paul Kingsbury ever ghosted you on something really important? Like you were reaching out to him with an important question and just didn't hear anything.
I mean, the answer has to be yes.
Yes.
I mean, it has to be, and he can claim that he's up in the mountains someplace, or he's, off with Kona or whatever, by a creek or in the woods or whatever. Because I know he'll disappear into the woods for a while. I mean, he'll go up and continue to work on his manifesto. I know he does that stuff. So he may be like out of communication for a while. But so the answer is yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just keep an account here as we go throughout the season of how many people have this same complaint. Of course, we're just kidding. But
yeah.
So you've been at IdahoSports.com a long time, Scott. I've been here about 5 years. This is what I do full time. I work from home. I manage the website. A lot of what I do is behind the scenes. You're not always going to see it necessarily. It's like putting in scores and schedules and content and all that good stuff. And then every once in a while I hop on and do these shows or go broadcast games and things like that. So I grew up in Montana. I try to mention that every single show. If there's some sort of connection to Montana, I'm just going to beat the drum and beat the heck out of it. That's for sure.
What part of Montana?
So I grew up in a small town south of Missoula called Stevensville. I just tell people I grew up in Missoula because everybody's heard of Missoula. nobody has heard of Stevensville typically. So that's where I grew up, Western Montana. Got into media, radio mostly is what I did. I did news, sports. I did talked in between songs. I hosted a live morning show on the pop radio station. I had my own trivia contest I'd do every morning. The Baney Brain Buster. The winner would get free muffins from Perkins. So that was kind of a fun thing I did.
Nice.
But then settled down in Idaho. I lived in Pocatello for 5 years. Just moved up to Coeur d'Alene 2 years ago. So that's where I live. I'm one of those guys now, one of those aggrieved North Idaho people.
Well, and that's okay, because you could be the pipeline to that different world up there in District 1 and 2 that nobody south of the Lewiston, I guess, knows anything about. You get down to the Boise Valley, and it's like you're coming from Canada up there. It's a different country, but you can be the pipeline.
Yeah,
didn't mean to interrupt your story. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I can get to Washington, Oregon, and Montana quicker than I can get down to Boise. So I can get to 3 other states more quickly than I can.
Well, it's like that graph they showed that the IHSAA was showing about like the travel distances. Did you see that?
I didn't. No.
Where if you were to take, a straight line from like Coeur d'Alene area down to Preston or whatever, and you take that, and then you put that on the end of Idaho, you're driving, I think it was Texas, corner of Texas or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Finish. I want to know more about your background. And I'll look that up.
Yeah, that's crazy. We might have to share that if you can find it and send it to me, maybe on a future episode or something. But anyways, that I was pretty much done. I was at the end there. I live in North Idaho now, and happy to be doing this once again. Of course, the Magic Valley Prepcast doesn't really work without you, Scott, because you're the guy that actually lives in the Magic Valley Prepcast. You're the guy that's plugged in there. So we certainly appreciate that. So while Scott is searching for that really cool graphic that the IHSAA unrolled, let's tell you a little bit about what the Magic Valley Prepcast is all about. So instead of hitting like every single sport and every single score each week and just kind of flying through like, oh, Burley beat Wendell 3-2 in volleyball, and then the Minico golf team won this, and then just rattling off a bunch of scores that are going to be hard to remember, we try to go a little deeper and really hone in on 2 or 3 stories that are impactful in the Magic Valley, and then we will take those and really dive deep into them. And so, we may talk one week about volleyball and cross country, and then the next week it might be football and golf. Sometimes we'll go 3 weeks without mentioning a certain sport, only because there's other stories that we want to cover ahead of that. And so we'll take 2 to 3 stories each week. Scott usually does a great job of reaching out to coaches, athletes, athletic directors, parents, whoever is involved with that particular story. A lot of times Scott will get photos, even some videos sometimes, which is great. And that's really what we're about, is bringing you some longer form stories of note that are happening in the Magic Valley with our young men and women that are competing in athletics. And so that's really the goal here at the Magic Valley Prepcast. Scott, the kind of the official, unofficial moniker you came up with all the way back in season 1, and it's still held, is Beyond the Box Score.
Absolutely. And that's stuck, and it's been great. It's an accurate representation of what we're trying to do. And, we want to, tell the stories, not tell the scores, tell the stories. And that's the fun part. And I think that we've had some really, really good content over the past 5 years in being able to kind of bring to life some of the things that people living in that same town don't even know about. But what it does is it kind of helps bring a sports community, together, where it's kind of bigger than the game in a way, because there's always a story. And that's what we're after. So if we come knocking on your door, sending emails, hey, what's the story? What's the story? Understand that's exactly what we're trying to do, is get the stories, not just the scores.
Yep. And so if there is a story, if there's something happening in the Magic Valley, something that you think should be covered more in depth and isn't being covered, you can always email either one of us, Brandon at IdahoSports.com, Scott at IdahoSports.com. And we would love to share the spotlight. That's what it's all about. And we've had, over the years, Scott, over the 5 years of doing this, we've had some really funny stories. I'll always remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now, but the Gooding softball team, to keep things light at practice, all the players would talk in British accents while they were going through drills and whatnot. But then, of course, sometimes we have those really serious emotional stories too, Scott. We've had athletes in the Magic Valley deal with cancer, and we're talking about like teenagers, or sadly, sometimes someone will pass away, or a coach or a longtime pillar of the community will pass away. So, I mean, we cover it all. We definitely like to bring those humorous stories and those fun, lighthearted stories, but sometimes, it's an emotional story as well. We cover the whole gamut.
Yeah. And part of that too is, when you are involved in high school sports or sports in general, a lot of times those athletes, their identity becomes kind of whatever their jersey number is. And we know nothing about them. And our goal is to kind of tell you what's beyond the number too, right? So they have identities and they're people and they've got real stories. And so when we cover these things that are kind of emotional and sad or whatever, I mean, it's just to illustrate that, that some things are bigger than sports, and when we want you to know the people. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves on.
Yep, for sure. So as we go into next week with the start of the high school fall sports season, we'll probably, just guessing, probably kind of look at some of the football teams that are standing out early on. It will be the first week of competition for high school football and some of the other sports. Golf actually starts this week, right, Scott?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A match in Mountain Home yesterday. And so, yeah, it is kicked off or teed off, if you will, and fall sports, they're underway.
Yep. So we'll have some of those fall sports specific stories for you on next week's edition of the Magic Valley Prepcast. Really, the only thing I wanted to touch on this show, Scott, is, and usually we're not talking baseball this deep into the season, but there is, of course, there's the high school baseball season in Idaho, which concludes at the end of the school year in May. But then a lot of programs play Legion baseball through the summer through their local American Legion posts. And the Burley Green Sox, Scott, just wrapped up at the Northwest A regional tournament. So in American Legion baseball, there's Class AA and there's Class A. AA are your larger towns in communities, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho Falls, some of those. And then Class A is kind of like everybody else, the Burleys, the Minnacos, the Pocatellos, those types of teams. And so you can get to the national tournament in AA. In A Legion ball, there is no national tournament. The highest you can finish in a given season at the Class A level is winning your Northwest Regional Tournament. And Burley got to the final day of the Northwest Regional Tournament. They actually hosted the Northwest Regional Tournament, so they got to go regardless. But despite being the host team and knowing they could have just sat back on that, Burley still went out and earned it. They won the Idaho Class A championship and then got to host. So I really liked that from Burley as well.
Oh yeah, what a shot in the arm to baseball in Burley. It's very cool to see, and the timing's right too, because everybody gets all excited for the Little League World Series and all that kind of stuff that's going on. Well, this is right in your backyard. A little bit older than Little League, of course, but a really good baseball team that like you said, won the Legion A state tourney and picked up a couple of wins in this Northwest Regional, beating a couple of teams, beating a team out of Montana, beating a team out of Alaska, before exiting out of the tournament, like you said, on that final day. But boy, what a great story and a great job by that Green Sox team out of Burley.
Yep, they beat they lost to Lovell, Wyoming on day one, 6-2 last Thursday. They then beat Wasilla, Alaska, 14-9, and Bozeman, Montana, 8-7, before falling to Klamath Falls, Oregon, 4-1 on Sunday to conclude their regional tournament run there. The Northwest Regional champions this year were the Bitterroot Red Sox from Hamilton, Montana, which is kind of my neck of the woods where I grew up over there. So there's me again mentioning the Montana thing, but
yeah. See, what was I looking at here? Your population.
Oh yeah.
over there is like what, 2,200 or so?
Yeah, so I was kind of describing this on the North Idaho Prepcast. Yeah, the population is like 2,200, probably something like that, that's like on par with like I'm trying to think of like a town in Idaho that would have a comparable population, kind of like a Wendell. It's kind of like the size of a Wendell, but in Montana there aren't as many larger schools like Idaho has. So the school I went to in Montana, despite being the size of Wendell, we competed in the second highest classification. So we were small fish in really big pond. We had a lot of times we were playing schools that were like double our size, and so we kind of got it on the short end a few times. So
little fun fact, Stevensville is recognized as the first permanent settlement of non-indigenous peoples in the state of Montana.
Yes, it is Montana's oldest community. Lewis and Clark came through the valley, set up a mission there with one of the priests, and then the Native Americans stayed behind and made it a development. So yes, I shared this story as well in the North Idaho Prepcast. There's kind of one athlete from Stevensville, a football player in the early 90s. His name was Joe Cummings. He went to the University of Wyoming, but then he parlayed that into like a 7 or 8 year NFL career. So that's kind of like the one claim to fame, Scott. He was kind of like a backup linebacker, special teams type player. Mm-hmm. He ended up playing for the Buffalo Bills mostly. His final play in the NFL and final game in the NFL was the Music City Miracle when the Buffalo Bills played the Tennessee Titans in the playoffs. They ran that kickoff back for a touchdown with no time left. He was on that kickoff team for Buffalo.
Hopefully he didn't have contain.
And that was it. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Well, nice. Yeah. That's something, win or lose on that one. That's a great story to tell.
Yes. I will say one more fun fact, and then we'll get out of here because nobody wants to hear about Stevensville, Montana anymore. Huey Lewis lives there.
What?
Like year round. Yeah. That's like his like main home he lives in, Huey Lewis. Yep.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Are the news there too?
No word on where the news went, but you'll see him out every once in a while.
He's got to be an outdoors guy then, because you're surrounded by the Bitterroot Mountains, right? Yep. And then obviously tons of space and hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, he lives right off of the Bitterroot River, so he can go right out his back door and go fish. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow. Huey and the news.
That's right. So if you want Magic Valley news, you can always tune into the Magic Valley Prepcast. It's probably going to be Thursdays or Fridays is my guess when we will record the show. And typically we go at 3:30 Mountain time. That's not a hard day and time. So you'll just have to keep an eye out. The easiest way, Scott, for fans that want to tune into the Magic Valley Prepcast, and if the time's changing a lot, you can always subscribe to the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel or subscribe to the Magic Valley Prepcast podcast feed on your favorite podcast app. And then whenever we go live or drop a new episode, it'll be right there. You don't even have to go look for it. So that's the easiest way to do it.
And why wouldn't you? Really.
That's right. So on that note, Scott, next week it's for real. We'll have some actual topics to talk about, and I'm expecting your A game, okay? No preseason rust, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's got me a little worried, by the way. So anyway, we can talk about that later. But yeah, so if anybody is listening out there, this is the time we solicit any stories that you may have, anything that's kind of happened over the summer that we need to know about in the sports world that maybe a lot of people don't know. Okay. Just shoot us an email.
Yep. Looking forward to it. So Scott, enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
All righty.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the Magic Valley Prepcast, everybody. For Scott Burton, I'm Brandon Baney. We'll see you next week on IdahoSports.com.